I'm hoping that I've taught him enough that he has the skill set that he needs to get through it. But I will tell you this also, as a father, I will make sure I do everything I need to do to protect both of my boys.
Mine is short. I'll just say, being a father, I had to become very selfless because there's this little child who can't do anything. And I became a changed person. I mean, I had been on the road with bands and just living my life. And a child made me park and become a father and a husband.
I had a little different direction. I told you my father was more alcohol, he loved his alcohol. So I seen a lot of his Dr. Jekyll. Mr. Hyde. I seen a lot of that. And what happened was, it got in me to say, when I grow up, I'm going to have a wife, mother, and kids. But I didn't know how to get to that point. So I opened up the Bible. And the Bible showed me, the scriptures showed me when God made man, he made man to take over everything. He made man and then he made woman to multiply. Multiply meaning have children. I had to learn how to give the foundation of my kids, 3 boys, 2 boys and a girl. The foundation starts from God. And what I tried to do was to be the father that I never really had. Meaning, once I married my wife, and we're going on 40 years now, same woman, same wife, and marry her and take care of the house, take care of the home. I worked all the time. I wasn't one that worked and then was laid off and then tried to look. I worked, and when I got a job, I was on the job all the time. So yes, I missed those graduations. I missed those different things, but my wife was there. And I gotta say this today, that God has me here with my grandchildren. And now I've worked so hard, I can retire and I can go to those plays of my grandkids. I can go to those graduations. I can do all that. I can be more of a part of my grandchildren as far as being there than being working.
Thank you. I have to say, my father also was somebody who missed a lot of things that initially I wish he could have been at. But I tell you this, it made me appreciate when I did see. I can tell you every time my father showed up for me, because I know that it was a sacrifice for him to be there. And then, like you said, after he retired, when I was doing things like this, the first event I did, literally, after he passed away, my brother walked in, and I almost said my brother and my father just came in, because they always would come in together. And people don't know it. That night, I sat and I cried in my car because I really expected my father to come in. And just before I said it, it hit me, he ain't never coming back to any of these events. So I'm very thankful that he sacrificed to make the money to allow me to be successful in my younger years.
I want to ask you, did your father to make the end of your events?
No.
That's big. That's what I'm wondering. I still remember that.
Okay, real quick.
Real quick so we can go on. So I believe that being a father to me is being present, being supportive, and you know, I can't think of the third one now. It's remembering, I guess. Whatever it is, I just forgot it. So to be present for my kids, just to touch on my father. My father used to work, as I said, in the casino, and he worked the graveyard shift. You guys all know he get off at 6:30 in the morning. Come, when we're getting up to go to school or play games or whatever. My father was always the person who I could find with the VHSs, them camcorders back in the day. He had his camcorder, on a tripod. I don't care what time my game was. I don't care what season it was. My father was the father that recorded every single game. I don't know how he made it. I don't know how he found the energy. I have no idea. I had no idea, but then as I got older, I realized that that's exactly what I wanted to emulate. I wanted to be that for my kids. I wanted to be present. I wanted to support them, and I wanted to, and I know the third one was be their example. To be the example, as you stated earlier, for them. So I try to live the life that I think I want, that I hope that I want my children to want to aspire to be. And so for me, when my daughter played travel soccer, my son played football, there were times when me and my wife were going to different parts of different states, and we would, meeting in the middle and passing kids off. All right, get in the car with your father. All right, you get in the car with your mother. They go this way, we go that way. But if you talk to our kids, you'll be hard pressed to find any occasion or any event, no matter how, and we have some pretty busy schedules, that we didn't make it. So just being present and being supportive and being that example.
State to state.
Three words. Firm, fair, and consistent.
Okay. Firm, fair, and consistent.
Firm, fair, and consistent. 3 words.
I just got to say this about my dad, and my brother can bear this out. My dad worked so hard that if we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, he was already out the door. He probably been at work a half hour. So I definitely, especially as an adult, appreciate the times that he did show up to see me get an award and so on and so forth. And I can tell you a long story about Christmas, but I'm not going to. I just need a quick yes or no answer to this last question, and then we're going to move off from fatherhood. Am I selfish because at this point in my life, I don't want kids? Yes or no?
Wait, I got jokes about this.
Yes. Why?
Your brother said yes.
Okay. Mr. Abdurrahim?
It's more than 1 word. It's a no, because you're not selfish if you have children and don't want them. You're not going to be a good father because you don't even want them.
Okay.
You really don't want them.
Well, okay, Mr. Payne, it's not like I hate kids, but
I didn't say that.
Mr. Payne,
That is a difficult question because whatever God wanted you to do, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Exactly.
oh, Lord,
Exactly.
that's what I'm afraid of.
That's how I can answer that.
My biggest fear is that after years of teasing all my friends about having kids, I'm going to be the last one old and gray. Great child.
Don't wait too long now, because they won't want you around.
Am I selfish?
No, I always like I tell my sons when the time is right. If the time is right, it'll happen. Just like, getting married. I mean, it's hard to go out there and say you're going to do X, Y, and Z, but when the right person comes along, you'll know. That's my fault.
Quick answer, no. Do your thing, bro.
Okay, y'all were quick on that one, so I'm gonna see if we can get through this one real quick as well. Corporal punishment, yes or no, in 2025?
Wait.
Oh man, I'm educated. I got to share.
At home,
I got
you get sued, man.
No, you asked me.
Okay, so at home, corporal punishment, yes or no?
That's not an answer.
That's a tough one. I'm an educator, so I'm trying to think of my certification right now. What I will say to that is I grew up in a household with a loving father that had no problems putting that belt to behind if we needed it. I probably, let me see, I got many beatings in my day, and I probably deserve more. right? And so, what I'll say to that is, I'm concerned, or I wonder where I'd be had I gotten less beatings. And I look at some of my friends that didn't have that father, and I see the conditions that some of those people are in now as adults, and I'll take my father's beatings any day of the week.
His father given him.
The question is, where do you draw the line between discipline and abuse?
That's what my thing is.
There's a line that has to be drawn.
So I have mixed emotions about this because I remember growing up, my mother, she would spank us, but then she would go in the room and start crying. Because she did it, right? For me, when I look at my children, with my first two boys, I just disciplined and stuff. Then I got to a point where I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be a better way that you can have a way of being that gets the point across to your child. And that's what I do with my two younger boys. I spanked them a couple of times, but after a while, I started thinking to myself, man, that it just brought back to me memories of slavery.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't need to be beating my kids for no reason at all. There's a way that I look at my children if we were out to dinner or something and they start acting up. I just ask them a question, do you want to go to the bathroom? When we went to a store, put your hands in your pockets. I tell you not to touch anything, just put your hands in your pocket and keep to yourself. Don't pick up anything that doesn't belong to you. So to me, I don't know, I just got to a point in my life with my kids that I just could not see the value of beating my kids. Any kind of discipline like that to have them behave in a certain way. I think that there's a better way.
Yes and no.
No. No, when it becomes physical. When it becomes physical. My problem was raising my kids, and the oldest one was always a problem, but that's him growing up as a child. But my discipline on him caused him to end up in prison. And I was wrong. I was wrong. Beat him with the belt. Put him in his room, lock the door. He climbs out the window. I was wrong in how I developed to try, because I'm thinking it's love, to try to correct him. But it never worked. It worked the opposite. So from 16 to 40 years old, he's ended up in prison. Now he's out. And now I sat down with my son. And I asked for forgiveness of how I raised him. Because I thought it was love. I thought it was the right thing. Okay? So corporate punishment, no. In the word it says, do not provoke your children.
But it also says spare the rod, spoil the child.
That's correct.
Okay, it also says that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It's about balance. And
That's
as you said earlier, we got to balance that thing out.
And we're not all made of the same thing. See, that's the thing. It depends on what you're dealing with.
That's right.
I remember I used to get my butt. I got my butt whipped in school.
Right.
They used to whip you in school.
Right.
And when I would get my butt whipped, my mother used to cry. She used to tell me, you better cry, because I wouldn't cry. I just look at her. I just look at her. She said, you better cry. And then she started crying.
Right.
And then on the other hand, my brother Andy, when he was going to get a whipping, she would say, go up, she said, go take your clothes off. And he would, before she even went upstairs, he would be jumping around, hollering and screaming, and she hadn't even come up yet. So it's really a personality thing. I think this is where I'm coming from. And he got one really good butt whipping in my whole raising. And it was because he did something that I I forbid him to do, and I never had to do it again, okay? So it's a personality thing.
Well, my answer is no.
Parents are gonna raise their children differently.
That's
Right.
But what you said was what I was already thinking. There's a difference between punishing your child even if you touch them and physical abuse. I think if a child is 2 or 3 years old and they do something, I pop their hand. That's still corporal punishment. But I'm not going, you see it in the grocery store, they're making it too. But hey, you little MF, I told you to get your Ooh, you verbally abuse them, you may hit them in the store, so no, I don't believe in that. I think that child should be taken away from that idiot. But I'm saying somebody that's abusing their child. But I know this much. I got spanked when I was growing up by a mother. The pop wasn't around. It was Jekyll Hyde, depending on the bottle, until mom didn't want to take it no more. But that's a whole nother story. But I got spanked this, and sometimes, you know, when you're a kid, 11, 12 years old, your boy, man, you still be good women. By the time we were 17 and 18, they was in Lord Reformatory. I was at Howard University.
That's right.
Drop the mic.
Come on now. Come on, teacher.
I'm a little different because I got a witness in the back. So, there's actually a study, and I don't remember the name of it. It does link the beating of black children to slavery. And how when blacks got out of slavery, since they had gotten beat, and now they were just starting to get some control of their own families, they continue the process. And they say it actually does not help. So about 2 years ago, my son said something to me that was disrespectful in the basement. And my first instinct was to get up and to bring the pain. Because he crossed the line. And I looked at him and I told him explicitly what I wanted to do to him. But I did not do it. And he looked at me. And I said, you disrespected me, and this is what I want to do. Truthfully, since that conversation, we haven't had a problem. And I realized that sometimes you just need to say it a little bit differently so your child can understand it.
Yes.
Now, did I want to go where I went with it?
Yes.
No. But if I had done what I wanted to do, it would have been a lot worse.
When you say related to slavery, I never put it down on my children. But the thing I mentioned a minute ago, I can remember they were toddlers plenty of times.
But can I just say, I don't need the mic.
No, I don't think so. Well, if the kid grabs the apple, then you smack his hand.
Right.
I think we're talking more about like this, you know? And here's the other thing, I'm sorry.
That's corporal punishment.
That's corporal, but you know.
In fact, if we're gonna be correct in school, let's take it to school. If I tell a kid to go sit in the corner by themselves, that's corporal punishment.
Yes. And if you tell them to go clean up what they just
If
wrote.
I tell them to clean up, if I tell them to go clean up
punishment.
the mess, corporal punishment.
That's corporal punishment. But the thing is, I get children. Oh, that's true.
That's what administration tells me.
I said if you're angry, you shouldn't be disciplining your children because it's going to be different.
Yeah, but all of it is about results, the way I see it. And my mother had cat o' nine tails, okay? Yeah, we used to get, matter of fact, she would tell one of the siblings to go break a branch off, go get a switch off the tree, and Andy used to go get the biggest one he could find for me. And she would wear me out. Yeah, and guess what? And let me tell you another thing too. A lot of people you're talking about, if I had my way, the draft would come back. Because they need to bring the military. I think every young man should have 2 years of military service. And you talk about punishment. You talk about corporal punishment. The military is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. And you will get, it's all kinds of different punishment that I don't think I turned out too bad. Okay? And I have, even when I'm dealing with police officers, and for years, the military taught me, when I was approached by a police officer, I can disarm him by saying, yes, sir, no, sir. You disarm him right away.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying to you is, it depends on the situation. This thing about likening it to slavery, everybody in my neighborhood got their butt whipped. Everybody. And we used to stand under the windows and laugh when somebody was getting I mean, that's our culture. That's the culture.
Can I say something? Can I say one thing to that?
Okay.
Can I say one thing to that?
Let Jelani.
I just want to say one thing to that. I think the point is, as a father, you have to study your children. The same thing doesn't apply to everybody. That's the point. Like myself, I was raised by my father. He was very stern. I wound up being a girl dad. So in my younger time, I was ruling with an iron fist, and it wasn't applicable. But as I matured, as I began to grow as a man, I realized I use my reason more, and I began to study. Well, this person responds to this. This person responds to that. You may whip this one, and he turned out like you don't go to Howard, or you may whip the other one, and he goes to prison. Because everybody is even though you're affected by your environment, we also have an internal thing that what we're made of. Everybody is made of something different. And as that's the greatest thing about being a real father. A father is somebody who should be able to guide the children to a certain course and pathway. In order to do that, you have to respect them as individuals and learn them and try to help them out.
The thing is, I learned this well into my 30s, so it took me a while. Kids do not come with instructions. I don't know why that is. I don't know why you don't come with instructions to tell you exactly how to. But I also want to say this. I want to shout out my mother, who is still alive, who, even if my dad was still alive today, I would rather get beat by my dad than my mother, because my mother used to do that psychological game where she'd go out there and cut me a switch, and I don't care how long the switch was. That's too short. Now, if you never lived through that, man, that's some crazy stuff. So we got to move on. We got to move on. And I also want to say thank you again to Beat the Daily Grind, because we're recording, for letting us be here, and to Atlantic City Focus for sponsoring this. So we're going to move on, and let's talk about health. I wasn't going to ask you as black men how we're doing with health, but I'm going to tell you what Questlove from The Roots said about black men and health. He said, when we were approaching 30, we thought we were flexing by being 30 and we didn't get shot up in the club. Because a lot of rappers were getting shot. Tupac, Biggie, Big L, I can go on and on. He said now, rappers are struggling to make 60 and just falling out. Not just rappers, Luther Vandross didn't make 60, I don't think. I can name it, Michael Jackson. I'm gonna put this on the docket. Where are we with our health, and how do we get a hold of it?
I think when I look in our communities, I think things are set up. I was talking to someone today, I don't know who it was, but we were talking about our sister here, how difficult it is for us to really be healthy in the environment that we live in, because in our communities, we have dollar stores, we have cedar markets, there's so much junk. You go into a dollar store today, what's in there? Just about 90% of the stuff in there is designed to kill you, slowly. And we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it because of the way, we were brought up. Cakes, cookies, candies, ice cream, sodas, soft drinks. For me, when I'm talking to a patient, I ask the question, how much water do you drink a day? The number one answer I hear, I don't like the way water tastes. Well, water doesn't have taste. And so what does that tell me? That means that most of the
liquid we're drinking are sodas, soft drinks, even Gatorade. You guys remember when we were in high school, Gatorade was nothing but saline and water. What is it today? Nothing but sugar. And it's the most addictive thing on the planet. Okay, we know that sugar is more addictive than cocaine and heroin. And it's everywhere, it's in everything that we eat. So for me, I think when I look at what's happening to us as men, black women in this country, I think we have to look at the Food and Drug Administration, we have to look at the CDC. These, in my opinion, they could care less about any human being. It's gone beyond, black, Hispanic, or whatever, and white people. They just don't care. Their number one thing is what? They want to make money. They don't care how they do it. And so that means that we have to be very, very conscientious about things that we do. For me, as a chiropractor, growing up, if I had to choose a doctor today, I would tell people, you better get yourself a chiropractor because they're going to be probably the only doctors out here today, other than naturopathy and other wellness doctors that are going to teach you about living a healthy life. Because if you go to a medical doctor today, the only thing that you're going to be guaranteed to get is another drug. And it's set up in such a way now that with this whole telemedicine thing, they don't even want to see you anymore. All they want you to do is talk and get you signed up to take a drug from the time you were born until the time you die. And that's the system. And for me, so what I try to teach my people today, you better learn how to take care of your health because it's not going to get any better when it comes to doing the right thing to bring about health and healing in your life. And so I would tell anybody, and I'm not saying again as a chiropractor, I would tell every person out there, you need to go see a chiropractor because every medical doctor knows, they know this, that your brain and nervous system controls everything in your body. And once you understand that, it's no different than an electrical system. If you overload it, what happens? It's going to trip, and the body's going to start to malfunction. So that to me is like one of the most important things I think that people can do is start being, and get out of those, all these dollar stores and just get, and we need to get more farmers markets and things into our communities. I know when I first started practicing, like I said, there was a guy who used to drive a truck right on Atlantic between New York and Kentucky Avenue. And he would have his fruit truck there every day, man. I would go out there and buy it. You can't find that stuff anymore. In our communities, where can you go to get fresh fruits and produce? And they lie to us to make us believe that it's more expensive. Well, if you go to a produce market, you can buy a lot of food for not that much, as opposed to going to a store and buying potato chips, pretzels, cookies, and candy. So you're paying for it twice. You're going to pay for it buying, and then you're going to pay for it in your health in the long term.
I want to make a statement and I want to get your feedback, Doctor, and anybody else. I think I didn't talk to you about this. For 3 weeks straight, and I know it doesn't look like it, I would go to the gym and get on the Stairmaster. And the words that were coming out of my mouth were not Christian at all. Oh, and by the way, before I get into this, I want to acknowledge Butchie. I'm trying to remember your governor. William Tweedle, who's here, and Bruce Weeks, who came in. Thank you for coming, gentlemen. But for 3 weeks, I cursed the Stairmaster out, and I hate going to the gym. I'd rather play basketball than go to the gym. Now, what happened is, week number 4, I ran into a friend of mine who is about 3 years younger than me, pushing the walker. So as much as I hate the Stairmaster, you know what I hate more? Thinking about me with a walker, pushing the walker.
Absolutely. So, exercise has got to be one of the most important things. One of the things I have in my office, sign on the wall, living a 100-year lifestyle. My goal is to teach people that as you get older, you got to do more, not less. We've been brainwashed into thinking that you get to that point, man, when I retire, I'm going to just lay back and do whatever.
if you don't continue to work out, you can guarantee that your body's going to break down. We're all aging, all of us. So we know that in order for your body to function well, you have to have great muscularity, you have to have great bone strength. And the only way you're going to get that is by doing weight-resistant exercises. You got to make sure you drink your water. Just doing that. Whatever you weigh, divide that in half. Drink that in ounces of water every day until you, as your weight goes down, and you reduce your water intake. But you got to get out and exercise. You got to get proper rest. You got to have a great mental attitude. You hear people think, saying things like, "Well, what do you expect? You're aging." It has nothing to do with it. It's about you staying busy, staying functionally strong, both mentally, physically, and emotionally and spiritually.
The first thing is we got to understand, why did we die? What happened? Why did we die? Well, if you look at the Bible, go back to Adam and Eve. Adam was the first man made, never made to die. But when God gave him a command not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it's because if you do, die, you should surely die. And Adam ate from the tree. So death come in. Abraham lived about over 900 years. 900 years. Today we can't make 70. 75, 80. 2023, I had open heart surgery. 2023. I retired as a chef. I cooked anything, ate anything, did whatever I wanted to do. But I understood what I got took in my body, some of it was going to stay. I had 3 bypasses. I had 1 valve replaced, and they dealt with afibrillation. I'm sitting here today because God saved my life, not the doctors. The doctors did what they had to do. The surgeons did what they had to do. But it was God that saved my life. But he saved my life, but I'm still looking in the future. I'm going to die. But now, he's giving me another shot. He put me in a program to learn how to eat right. Eat the things that will really benefit your body and not your taste buds. In today's society, we don't look at any of that anymore. Okay? It's just something that's the way the life is. That's why we have the corner stores and we have all this. So we have to look at, we are in control of what we put in our bodies. We are. And if we continue to do that, then you know what? It's going to happen. We're going to die. It's going to happen anyway. Just, are you sooner or later? Oops. No. We have to move on, but I'll get you on this one. I'll get you on this one. I'll get you on this one. Let's move on from physical health.
Yeah, you ignore something that a lot of people ignore. Mental health.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. Let's move on to mental health. Can we admit